Many believe every person is born with an innate sense of knowing or intuition, meaning you know without knowing. Well, today I'm catching up with best-selling author and psychic medium Elias Patras, who will teach you how to tap into your intuitive side. Bloom Health Club starts now.
From the Stream Center, welcome to Bloom Health Club, sponsored by Monticciolo Family and Sedation Dentistry.
Bloom Health Club. I'm your host, Gayle Guyardo, and today's guest is intuitive motivator, life coach, best-selling author, and psychic medium Elias Patras, who's out with a new book, Changing the FU to Thank You. Welcome for being our new member of the club.
I am so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
I got so excited I was stumbling. But listen, tell me a little bit about the title of the book. I love it. Changing the FU to Thank You. What does that mean?
So did you ever happen in your life that things just get messed up?
Yes.
And you want to say something like, wow, F this, F that, F that. But we have to stop and pause and say, wait, that happened for a reason. I made that mistake and that happened for me, not to me. That happened so, for example, I was in a narcissistic relationship and married. Mm-hmm. And the ex cheated on TikTok during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was fun. It was a lot of fun. But why did I leave Chicago to go to a smaller town? Why did I do this? I got my first book written. I got into a speaker program and won and got to be on stage with some motivational speakers. All those pieces, if I didn't get married, that would have never happened.
That's interesting. I could definitely say that my life seemed like a series of FUs happening.
Right.
And I'm like, why? Like, when is it ever going to stop raining down on me? And then all of a sudden, I met the love of my life. And for the last 2+ decades, it has been heaven on earth. And if you had asked me more than 2 decades ago if I would be living this life, the answer would have been absolutely not. So you're saying changing the lens is what makes it all happen.
Because what do we do, Gayle? We focus on the shoulda, coulda, woulda stuff, right? Mm-hmm. We don't look at the gratitude. We don't look at the experiences that we had that have taught us an amazing lesson. Prime example. I remember I was a massage therapist and a massage instructor back in Chicago. And I took the summer off thinking, oh, it's a summer, No, it was not a good idea to take the summer off. And it was hotter than heck in Chicago. Bills were climbing like nobody's business. The electric bill was huge. There I am going, crap, I missed the bill. I have to pay it in person. I'm complaining, driving, and I'm getting angry, and the Greek temper is going on within myself. I'm driving, and I see a woman smiling. She's a quadriplegic with the wind touching her face. And I'm like, who am I to complain? This woman is just so grateful for the wind on her face.
Wow.
And it changed my attitude like that. And more attitude of gratitude started, I noticed that in that way, I could start manifesting from that place instead of the shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, that's interesting. You make me think, like, for years, the majority of my life, only 5 years now plus have I been doing Bloom and Bloom Health Club. Prior to that, I'll go ahead and age myself, since 1988, I was in television news, much of it here at this very television station. And sadly, the news is the worst of the worst. And it did teach me a lesson that, the small things in life, I wouldn't really let them bother me that much because people were losing their lives. You would see all of this doom and gloom. And, if you could just live your life in gratitude, it's a much better space to be in.
Every night before I go to bed, I will say one gratitude. And in the morning, I go to my office. I work from home. Go to my office. I have a picture of my mom and dad right behind me. And when I'm looking and reading the email, I can see their reflection. And I'm like, just thank you for always watching over me.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Talk to me about when you knew that you had psychic abilities.
So we all are born with them. We all have them. We just don't listen. That's the problem. We just don't listen. I think God whispers to us instead of, we want like, where's that neon sign, right, that says go this way? I think we see those little signals. And it started happening when I was a kid. And I would dream of a relative. Now I had older parents. My mom was 46. My dad was 56 when they adopted me. And they were born 1919 and 1909. So
Wow.
that tells you how old they were. It was a dream that I had that everybody was in church except one relative. The phone would ring. My mom and dad would come in the room and they said, oh, so-and-so passed away today. And that was the relative that wasn't in church in my dream. It happened at least 5 to 6 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And it stopped during high school. Because high school, we have so much going on and all the peer pressure and everything else. And then it started again 2 years before my mom passed.
You mentioned that you talked to God. You said a prayer before this, because in a little bit, we're going to do a psychic reading on me, which I'm very much looking forward to. A lot of people of faith get scared about psychics or intuitions. And I know there are a lot of people out there that are frauds, but you said it, God gave us this gift of intuition. And I think it's fair to say that we've all felt it before. We've all ignored it before. And just what we feared, these little whispers that we ignored came to fruition.
Correct. I think what we do is being faith-based. I'll just say it that way. Okay. Being faith-based, I know what the church teaches me, and I know that my story, Gayle, started very differently. My mom had a dream that she would find a baby in a blue crib with a white dove painted on it. Did I tell you this story?
Yes, you did, but I want you to repeat it, because we briefly spoke about this.
And she had a dream that it was a baby in a blue crib with a white dove painted on it, and 2 stone pillars, 2 stone doves. She went to Greece with my dad. They were looking for an older child. They couldn't find one. They felt really bad. They were driving, and my mom's like, stop the car. They saw the orphanage, 2 stone pillars, 1 stone dove. A brown turtle dove flew on my mom's shoulder. They went into the orphanage. There I was, middle row, last crib, a blue crib with a white dove painted on it.
You're kidding.
No. And my mom always said, she said, listen, I want you to know something. This was several months before she died, but she used to tell me because they were older. She goes, if anything happens to us, I don't ever want you to be afraid. God's always on your side. She said, God was with your grandfather when he came over from Greece with 25 cents in his pocket back in the late 1800s. And you never have to be afraid. It always works out for the best. And that got me through everything. The day of my mom's funeral, the wake rather, my dad was bleeding internally and they had to rush him from the nursing home to the hospital. I had to leave my dad at 1:00 in the afternoon to get to my mom's wake at 3:00 in the afternoon. I didn't know how I could make it. And I just sat there and I'm like, give me the strength. My dad died the following year. The day after my mom's birthday, I was on a cruise ship. And I just went up to the top of the ship and I said, look, you got my mom, you got my dad. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm 36 years old. What do I do? Show me. And I know you gave me some abilities, but whatever I do, I want to do for the best and for the highest good of all concerned. Just guide me.
I love that. And now you do teach people to listen to a very valuable gift that we've been given. So what are the first steps of tapping into our intuition?
To be quiet. That's the very first step. The very first step is to take a breath, breathe, and trust. It doesn't come from here. It doesn't come from the mind. It comes from the heart. It's that very first thought. And if you question it or you try and figure out, then you've lost it already. It's like if you were driving and you're like, I don't know why I feel like I have to turn left when I normally turn right. Go with it. Who knows? You might end in a dead end, or you might find $100 at the end of the road. You never know, right? You have to just trust it.
So how do you work with people? When I know you're a coach, how do you work with them?
So if I'm doing an intuitive coaching piece, I will look at them and say, what are your goals? What do you want to learn from life coaching? And then I tap in intuitively and I said, okay, so let's pick one topic like confidence. I have a client right now with confidence. And I said, whatever happened between the ages of 8 and 10, that is where it started. That's where that ouch started. And we have to go back there to heal that piece, heal that inner child wound. And she said, oh, that's when my parents got divorced. So we can track things back. Now, nobody, I like to say this, only God, sometimes I throw in Oprah there, only God and Oprah have all the answers. But no psychic medium is 100% accurate. If they say they are, they're lying to you.
Yeah.
It's about 70 to 85%.
So let's talk about going back into our childhood and trying to fix things, because, you know, I recently went through this whole EMDR and neurofeedback. It was really, really interesting. And I learned a lot and I healed a lot. But if you go back and you look at your childhood and things went wrong, I always try to think, okay, my parents, who I love so dearly, they were doing the best they could at that particular time. So it's not like you have to go back and tear things up and get all angry. Maybe you just have a sense of understanding of how that snapshot in time formed who you are today, or maybe some of the habits that you'd like to shake.
And that's true, because what I've done with clients when we're talking about those old wounds, what would adult you tell the small you? What would that conversation look like? And they start dialoguing and they start to see their own ahas, because that's the point of all this, to tap in within and say, oh, the answer's been there all along. It's just been buried. And that's how I teach, is to let's get rid of the caca, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you have some new books that you're working on. Tell me about those.
So I have a new book coming up soon. It is called the series is called the Within series, and it's Going Within to Heal. That's the first book. We have 31 authors sharing how they went through their journey of healing. The next book is called Transformation, The Journey from Breakdown to Breakthrough. And the next one is called Limitless and Free. And I forgot the subtitle, but it's those 3 books. One is coming up in about a month. And the other one, I'm hoping around Valentine's Day. The other one will be around early summer.
And you do this all on your own. I mean, this is a labor of love for you.
I just feel that we all have abilities. And if one story, whether it's mine, yours, whoever, is going to touch one person, and maybe that person will then take it to 30. And those 30 people now have shifted, and maybe somebody in those 30 people will do another thing, and it'll just keep on growing because of an inspiration that someone had. I think we all are here, and what we're missing in this world is kindness.
Oh, without a doubt.
Hate never solves any problem. It never
does
has.
not. It does not. Is there any one story, you don't even have to attribute it to the person who wrote it, but is there any one story out of that collaborative of 30 that stands out like an example of what people were able to get through?
There's several, actually, and there's a couple. They all are breast cancer survivors.
Oh, wow.
And one is a nurse, and she's a good friend of mine. And another is a nurse, and she did not have breast cancer, but she talks about how her intuition happened because of her grandmother's passing. Another one talks about her dealing with breast cancer, and there's just a lot. There's all of them are so rich.
I love that. I love that. And rich stories like that do inspire, and they do help all of us heal. I think it's a really great idea that you're putting that all together. All right, so let's shift in. I do want to talk to you about, how we look at our lives, because I might have shared this with you before, and I have made it not a secret to anybody, but we're soon to be empty nesters, my husband and I. I've been walking into this very television station now for 33 years, and he's asked me to figure out a way to pivot and figure out a way to do what I love, but maybe not with the day-to-day grind, so we have more flexibility in our lives. And I will tell you that I do live my life with a lot of fear now, because it's an unknown. It's like cutting an umbilical cord. I mean, this is the place that I've been where I birthed not in the building. I did not birth my 4 children in the building, but this is where life happened for me. I had 4 children. I had a divorce. I had a marriage. The love of my life. I lost both my parents while working here. There's been a lot of highs and lows. So it's not just a workplace for me. It is part of the fabric of who I am. And shifting has been, or preparing to shift has been very scary.
So let me ask you, Gayle, with each shift, did you not notice a growth?
Always.
And how many ahas have you had?
A lot.
And we just became empty nesters ourselves. So both kids are in college now. So it's the house is very quiet unless the dogs are barking. It's very quiet. I think what happens is, see, now I'm picking up stuff and I'm trying to not.
You can say.
Okay. So I really think that your shift is, there's a little bit of mentoring that's happening or going to be happening if you choose. These are all if you choose. People always think that a psychic has I have the answer. These are probables because the choice is up to you. You have free will. So if you choose mentoring someone in a way, a mentoring program, I don't know what that means. I know we talked about on the show before, we talked about you writing. I totally see you writing, and I see you writing and speaking a lot. And that's really cool. And I do have to, I guess we're just going to go into it. Do I have your permission?
Yes, please.
Okay. So when I said my prayer, I always do the sign of the cross because that always makes me feel better. And I saw this woman coming forward, like over my shoulder, and obviously a relative of yours. And she's not chunky. She's not skinny. She's sturdy. And you have a lot of people up there, obviously. But this woman had like a very loving presence, but also like you didn't mess with her. Like there's a sternness to her. She would probably come up to maybe your eye level.
Okay.
Does this resonate with you?
This could be one of my grandmothers who kind of fits that profile.
Okay. And chunky hands.
Okay.
Now, just so everybody knows, when I see stuff, it's always about plays that I've seen or TV shows or my family. So if I'm saying your grandmother or whomever, I'm seeing images of my people.
Okay.
Right? So I'm mishmashing it together. This lady also did a lot of cooking, and everything was handmade. Like if it was pasta, it would be handmade. If it was,
This adds up.
okay. And I also smell too. So give me a moment. And
Okay.
I'm tasting like I can't. It feels like it's a meat sauce of some sort, and it's not super spicy, but I can't place the nationality. So, because I was hearing a lot of in my background, I was hearing dun 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 dun.
I am Italian.
So, but it's a sauce that's a little spicy.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's an arrabbiata type of sauce or something that is spicy like that. And boy, I mean, everything's by the hand, and there was a lot of love that went in that food. Especially it tastes to me like pork. And I'm going to say like this, well, that would be beef, Elias. Good job. Pork beef stew kind of a thing.
This is exactly what she would make. And when you were talking, I'm like, I wonder if he's going to mention the pork, because she would go to the butcher and she would make, it was such a process for her to pick out all the different meats that would go into her, what we call suco. And she would cook it all together. And then that beef would just melt apart.
Yep.
And it was so delicious. And no one's been ever really able to recreate it. My older brother wanted to do, before everybody had a jar, there was only ragu and the other one. He really wanted to do like a prego and a ragu. He wanted to do a nana Katie, and that was her sauce, and that is exactly how she would make it.
And it's fun because Greek cooking and Italian cooking, a lot alike.
Right.
There's a lot of similarities there. And there's this, we call them keftedes, which are basically everyone, it's Greek meatloaf, but it's better than that because we put in dry mint. So I can see like she would make these little round, probably meatballs,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of like this, but it wasn't hard. It was like this soft meatball.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
This is spot on. So when she came behind you, what did she say? Or what was the message?
It was a tap on my shoulder. And you've done good. You're doing good. And you will be doing even better. Trust yourself. Stop the voices in your head. And instead of, well, just say yes.
Okay. I love that.
Just say yes.
I love that. That's really extremely helpful, because I do have so many voices in my head. I mean, there's imposter syndrome, all the things. And
Yep.
I think that so many people deal with that. I think we have time for one viewer question. So I'm gonna bring that to the head. What are ways to cultivate joy from within instead of chasing it outside of yourself?
That's a great question. It's
Okay.
one of the things that I like to talk about. So why are we looking for validation from everyone else?
We always do.
Why?
I don't know.
But the joy is within. So to chase it from within is saying, like I said earlier, like your grandma said, say yes to you. The piece that I want everyone to know is joy happens from the simple things in life. I had a client and she's like, I've lost the joy. And I said, okay, do me a favor. I want you, she's married, she's happily married. I said, you work at home. I said, go out for the walk with the dog, and I want you to take 5 pictures of things that bring you joy. Whether it's someone laughing, whether it's a flower, whether it's the bus stop sign because you find it funny. I don't know, whatever it is. And then go home and talk to your husband about it and say, these 5 pictures give me joy. Do you know that you're going to switch the neurons in your brain to start looking for things that give you joy?
That's beautiful. And I like the idea of switching the neurons in our brain. You know, I have 4 daughters, and one of them is going through a difficult patch in life. It's a season, and she'll get out of it. And I'm just trying to teach her to please look at things. I mean, put the rose-colored glasses on. Why not? I mean, those have never failed me in life. Sometimes they make me see people, better than they are. But when you look at life that way, it is better.
Totally.
You
And
agree with that?
150%. 150%.
So how do folks find you? How do we follow you and learn more about what you do?
Everything I'm on is Elias Patras on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. You can also go to www.eliaspatras.com.
And the book, is it widely available? Can we order it on Amazon?
The Changing the FU to Thank You is on Amazon. You can get it on my website. If you live in the U.S., go to the website. I'll sign it for you with a little message.
I love that. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us. This has been great. And many thanks to Monticciolo Family and Sedation Dentistry for sponsoring our show and helping us bring some very entertaining and knowledgeable guests to the Bloom Health Club. And don't forget, you can watch us anytime. You can watch our streaming show, Bloom Health Club, on Apple TV, Fire TV, Roku, Samsung TV, WFLA.com, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. I will see you on the next Bloom Health Club.